Good evening, Holy. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we thank you all so very much for joining us for this special interview as we are preparing for our 60th church anniversary. And so 60 years is such a long time, and so we wanted to hear from members of Holy Sinai CME Church that can remember life before the merger. And so I've invited Dr. Susan K. Twyman to take part in this interview today and just to share with us some of the things that were happening before the merger and after the merger. And so, Dr. Twyman, again, thank you so very much for taking the time to interview with us today. But what was the church like, or what was going on in Rome before 1966? So you can go back as far as you want to go. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm gonna go back even further than, of course, when I was born.
Yes, ma'am.
To just let the people know the history of the CME Church being in Rome, of which we all know it was not Christian Methodist Episcopal at first.
Yes,
it was colored Methodist Episcopal.
Okay, then.
And so what we were told and what we know as a part of our own history is that the Rome circuit for the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church started in the late 1800s.
Oh,
So
wow.
think about that.
Yes, ma'am.
The
Wow.
late 1800s.
1800.
And of course, that's when they had Mount Zion,
Yes, ma'am.
Mount Sinai, and I understand it was another church, Rush Chapel, which was also in the Shannon area, on up near Plainville, and then Holy Temple.
Okay.
But very soon after, I guess, the church got kind of organized, Mount Sinai and Rush Chapel merged first. Because they, number one, they were so close together, and
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sure that the attendants during those times did not put, they didn't need two churches in the same area, in the same areas.
Yes, ma'am.
Pretty much. So that happened first. I don't know anything a lot about that. I just know what's in writing.
Okay.
But okay, so then we had Mount Sinai, Mount Zion, and Holy Temple that were the Rome circuit. The Rome circuit was pastored by one pastor.
Wow.
So one pastor came to Rome every week. Mount Zion services were on first Sundays.
Yes, ma'am.
Mount Sinai's was on second Sundays.
Uh,
And Holy Temple's on third and fourth.
okay.
For us at our house, as were others, but we went to church every Sunday. Because see, my dad was fine. Went where the pastor was. We went to Mount Zion on
Yes,
first
ma'am.
Sundays. We had our church on second. Mount Zion usually did not come to the other churches, but we have to remember that they have that Baptist church, Mount Tabor, that's out there in that area in the
Greater Mount
area.
Tabor, yes, ma'am.
And those families, like if a husband belonged to Mount Zion, the wife probably belonged to Mount Tabor. So those two churches really supported one another, as they still do.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, of the few Mount Zion people that are left, they do still go to Mount Tabor. So.
That's good, then.
Now, with that said, and then, so we went every Sunday, and the pastors really did appreciate, I think, that kind of fellowship when people would visit all the churches.
Yes, ma'am.
Because they knew that they were supporting him as pastor.
Oh, that's good.
Now, so then in 1966, of course, when Reverend Mance Jackson was the pastor, and I'm not sure how many years before 66 he was pastor. I do not have that information.
Yes, ma'am.
However, in 1966, he brought this proposal before all three of the churches. He spoke to them in a church conference separately first about how he wanted to see the three churches come together as one.
Oh, wow.
You know, and
yes, ma'am.
And Mount Zion declined, and we can kind of understand that because a lot of the people that were members at Mount Zion still lived in that area.
Okay.
And
that makes sense.
I guess the good part for Mount Sinai was that most of the people that were going to Mount Sinai now had actually moved into the city of Rome.
Oh, wow.
Because we had, our family had, from Shannon, to Rome, because we moved from the county in the summer of 1960.
Okay.
And so we were in Rome and now in 1966, I had graduated from high school.
Yes, ma'am.
61.
A lot going on in
I had
1966.
graduated from nursing school, and so I was back in Rome, working at Floyd Medical Center the first year out of school, and then at Northwest. But I was back in Rome, and as a young person, I was doing the Danielle in those years,
wow.
as we say, working with the youth. But so then in 1966, like I said, when he met with Mount Sinai, and the adults agreed with him, because like I said, at that time most people had already moved into the city already.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that did, with him, with that proposal, I wasn't sure back then how that happened, but I'm pretty sure that had to go before the annual conference.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, yes,
since
ma'am.
we know the process now.
And that was bold in 1966.
Wasn't that, yes,
that was a bold move. No, ma'am.
Well, first of all, it was, you think about it, like I said, Mount Zion refused
Yes,
to
ma'am.
do it. Well, I mean, it wasn't, I'm sure, an easy task for Mount Sinai to do it either, because think about it, the people that were leaders in both of those churches, now that they were coming together, you know how some people are about that turf,
That's true. Yes, ma'am.
But, and that's how I know though that God was in, number one, God was in the plan, and that they recognized it.
That's true.
You-
And for
the
them to
need
give
for-
up
to-
their leadership
leadership.
position to come together.
Yeah. And then reestablish leadership, pretty
Yes,
much.
ma'am. Yes,
But
ma'am.
the person that was I guess the biggest supporter of Hosey Temple was Mr. Capus White.
Okay.
And Mr. Capus White was a jewel. Let me tell you, even though we were still at Mount Sinai, he made sure that the teenagers at Mount Sinai went to Payne College, because he took carloads of people
To Payne
to
College,
Payne
leadership
College,
training school.
Leadership training school.
Wow.
And see, even though, so see that connection, I think people could realize that it wasn't just about one church.
Yes,
It was
ma'am.
about God.
That's good.
And how important it was then for them to be able to work together.
Yes, ma'am.
But I think he set the pace for that. That's all I'm saying. The environment, because of his support to the other churches already
ma'am.
before the merger.
Wow.
Because this would have been in late 50s when he was, before I graduated from high school.
That
So
he
like I said,
was-
we were teenagers when he was taking us with the Hosey Temple people.
So basically, he was laying the groundwork
right then.
for what was to come.
Mm-hmm.
And look at, and I mean, seriously, think about where Hosey is at today,
Mm-hmm.
and how you had two different congregations coming together, working together. Not about their egos.
Right.
It's not about who had this position or that position, but they were working on one common ground
Right.
for what was better for the people that were worshiping together. Like
Right.
they saw God in it,
And
and that's amazing.
That
No,
is
man.
amazing.
And I'm telling you today, I think that's what we're trying to communicate now. We need to work together.
And
Yeah.
that's why I am so proud of you, and
Oh,
and you following the vision that God gave you about
Yes, ma'am.
about this community coming together.
Yeah.
And because it is so important that when we're doing it for the right reasons, that we should be able to work together.
That's
you know?
true.
And,
That's true.
Now back to Hosey, and so then Reverend Mance Jackson brought it. They passed it. It was passed in the annual conference.
Yes, ma'am.
And I keep bringing that up for the people that are listening, because at that same annual conference, there was a new pastor, see, that was appointed. Reverend
Wow.
C.C. Bronner was the one that came
Okay.
after, or at that point. Reverend Mance was not assigned back,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
Reverend C.C. Bronner was, because he came in '66. And so he was there in 1968, of course. Paul
Yes,
Twyman
ma'am.
and I were married
Yes,
at the
ma'am.
Hosey Temple site.
Oh, wow.
At Hosey Sinai at 5 Points.
Yes.
And
Oh, wow.
so that was in '68. And I think I told you that we moved in this building in '70. That was a mistake.
1970. Yes, ma'am.
It wasn't '70. And the reason I was thinking '70, Rhonda was born in 1970.
Yes, ma'am.
And she was baptized, at this location.
Oh, wow, okay.
And so, but they did not move into this building. It was being built, but they didn't move in until early spring of '71.
Okay.
Which then made sense that, I mean, I just remember she was very young when we had her baptized,
Yes,
about 6 months old.
Wow.
So that, we were already in this building at that point.
In 71.
In '71.
Okay, then.
And you're not asking me for the history, for our history, however.
Oh, no, man. But I'm just thinking about Reverend Bronner and
Yes.
that was a
And he
heavy
was
lift
already
to bring two congregations together.
Mhm.
So now in '66, when y'all merged, were y'all meeting in Shannon or you meeting in Five
At
Point?
5 Point.
So the church is meeting in Five Point.
Because at the point when it merged.
Yes, ma'am.
Mount Sinai, sold that building.
Okay.
And like I was telling you, shortly after that also was when the urban renewal came through.
Yes, ma'am.
And they bought that building at 5 Points, because they were coming.
Okay, then.
So with the selling of both of those buildings, of course, was what helped to get this one started,
Okay,
of course.
then.
But there
Wow.
was a mortgage.
Yes, ma'am.
Take my word for it.
Yes, ma'am. I'm pretty sure that was
There
not
was a
enough to
mortgage.
cover
You know it
everything. No. But I saw the two monument, I guess the cornerstone that was still in front of the church. That were from the various churches before the merger.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
They
yes,
kept both
ma'am.
of them.
That was good to keep that piece of history. Yes, ma'am.
And that shows you, though, I guess people still feel that way, but for me,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I notice this as I get older, it is so important for us to know the beginning.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
but people don't start realizing how important it is until they getting older, is what I'm
Yes,
saying.
ma'am.
So, I'm glad that somebody saw the need to recognize who was the leader, what was going on in both churches before they came together.
And that is important.
And that is important because we need
important.
that's why we need to continually remember
Yes, ma'am.
those that were before us.
I agree with you. So let's fast forward to 1971, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like in 1971, once y'all are here in this place,
Mm-hmm.
what was that experience like? And then bring us all the way to the day. Yes, ma'am.
Well, that was a great experience.
Yes, ma'am.
You know how it is to move into a new house.
Yeah.
I mean, that is when the church started growing.
Wow.
You know how, people love new things.
Yes,
you know
ma'am.
what
Yes, ma'am.
So then with that, people just came out better. And I think and our older people, we knew that they were going to be here, but their younger family members started to be more involved. You see what I'm saying? And coming to church.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think at first it was because of the newness, but at the same time, that helped them to know the Lord better, help bring in other people, because young people are the ones that really bring in young people.
That's true. No, that's true. That's true. Young people, yes,
And so when
yes.
if I heard somebody say the other day, if you don't have any children in your church, that church is dead.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, that's true. They did say that, and that is a true statement.
They got to be there, and that's also why they have to be involved though from beginning.
Yes.
From the beginning, because
because eventually they're going to take over. Yeah, they're going to take
And
over. And so it's good for us to train our young people. And then, so in '71, it really was like a young adult movement that kind of took place.
Right.
And it just pushed the whole design out there.
And Reverend Bronner was here, maybe 3 years? I think he left in, it was about 2 years after that,
Yes,
after the
ma'am.
move. I'm
Okay.
trying to think, I can't remember. And who was here after him? Oh my goodness. I can't remember, but, okay, so we're in the 70s. Who was here in the 70s? Well, not too long after. No, that was after Chris.
Now I know Bishop Stewart was here at one time.
Okay, but that was when it was.
That's when the circuit went it.
That was it when it was? Yeah, that's when it was a circuit church.
Yes, ma'am.
And the reason I know that is Reverend Stewart, Paul Stewart, he was assigned here, and he was a student at ITC.
Wow.
And that's when I was in Atlanta in nursing school.
Yes, ma'am.
And so my roommate and I would come home various times on the weekends. And a couple of weekends that we were riding the bus from
Yes,
Atlanta
ma'am.
to Rome, coming home. Reverend Paul Stewart was riding that same bus coming to Rome from Atlanta.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and I have reminded him of that a couple of times about, but I mean, he knew then, cause,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what weekend it would have been, but he would have seen us at church, no matter where that church was that Sunday.
That is amazing. Every time I see, I'm just like, wow, he was in Rome.
He was at Rome in his beginnings, and then he became a bishop.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
He would laugh at me every time when I said, when you have to feel good about him, I'm talking about, because he was having to think about it.
Yes, ma'am.
He was having to ride the bus. I don't know whether he had a vehicle or not. Maybe it was just cheaper for him to come by bus than to drive a car. But he put to Rome. Mm-hmm.
Wow, just to come and preach.
But on the weekend.
And I just, down through the years, I've heard about when Reverend Walker was here.
Mm-hmm.
How
think about and that's what I like to think about.
Yeah.
Reverend Stewart became a bishop.
Yep.
Reverend Walker became very famous because he was a great pastor.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
and so
ma'am.
with that, like the people that came through Rome and got their beginning in Rome, and look where they
are. They all have
that's
moved on to
so
something
it shows
big.
you that it wasn't just some nobodies.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
They were godly people, and they did what God.
That's true.
What God assigned them to do, because I just feel that they were not necessarily enthusiastic about coming to small Rome, but after they got here, and
they fell in love with
it takes Reverend Mahone to talk about that.
Yes,
he says Rome was the best place that he pastored because the people love their pastor.
And I can agree.
And so, so I like that people can say that about the membership at Hosea.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm telling you, there are so many pastors that have came through here. And I know we don't have time to go through the litany of them, but I guarantee they always say the same thing. That Hosea has the best people that love their pastor. I mean, they just absolutely. I heard someone say those people at Hosea know how to take care of people.
He said that, and Reverend Walker said that, and people just down through the years have said that.
They have, yes, ma'am. It's a great congregation. So is there anything else? We're getting ready to wrap this up. Thank you again for your time. But is there anything else that you want to say on this special day for the people of Hosea?
For the people at Hosea, y'all got the best pastor in Rome, Georgia, in Northwest Georgia, in the state of Georgia.
Yes, ma'am.
And your pastor is gonna one day be a bishop. That's what I want to say.
Y'all heard it here first.
Prophesy. If anyone else at this level needs to make it to bishopship, it is Reverend Dr. Derek McDaniel.
Oh Lord, well,
and if I sound prejudiced, I'm not, because I know a few bishops.
Yes, ma'am.
Through the years, I'm serious.
I thank you so very much, and thank you for your leadership, and thank you for your mentorship through the years. I'm telling you, I really, and I still lean and depend on you. So, I thank you for what you have brought to this ministry, and thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.